Okay, Sourish. Hello.
Yeah, can you people hear me?
Yeah, now.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, my question was, is it making relevance to all of you at this point?
This is for me. It's like learning ABCDs of it because
Okay.
the lots to really practice and then reach to the point that where you are right now.
Okay. I mean, no, I mean, thank you so much, but it's something that we all are capable of. It's just that sometimes we stop ourselves because we think we are not good enough. So that's why,
So,
this is
Absolutely,
why this
Sourish.
question is that,
yeah.
Yeah, we've
So,
been
Sourish,
doing storytelling.
I go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel each of us have been doing the storytelling, okay? So whether
yes,
it's talking to kids or convincing them on something, if you start with a
correct.
story, there's always better listening. We say
Yes.
stories in school to our teachers, to our lecturers. So every conversation is actually a story, if you look at it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and we owe it to us to be able to tell these stories so that people remember us. Tejas, you were saying
Absolutely.
something.
Yes, Sourish, what I was saying is, so I'm a marketing and a sales guy. So this is an
Yeah,
important skill that I need to develop, and it's
right.
really important in my field. So I think the thing is, like, this is something extremely new to me, like Vijaya pointed out. So, I have to maybe start from the very basic. And thanks for taking time out, firstly. And the second thing is, there are certain filters that we have in our head, right? Like when we see something, we don't see the funny side of it, or we're so
Correct,
programmed in such a way that, we just see what it is, what it's like,
correct.
or how it seems on the outside. So the whole idea is, I think, to develop that, to see a little deeper and to make a story out of whatever it is that we do. So I think that will take
Correct.
some time, but thanks for letting me know that it's possible and that all of us are meant to be born storytellers. I think I can pick it
No,
up
I
from
mean,
there.
yes, you are right. I mean, one of the things is very important that we do have a cultural context to storytelling. In fact, one
Right.
of the things that really pushed me was when I was hosting a group of storytellers from Finland, and they're
Okay.
coming to India to learn this because they want to include this in the curriculum.
Okay. Well,
You are in marketing and sales, that's the same field that I have also been my entire career. We
right.
realize this when we talk stories, we connect people. So most
Exactly.
of the time when I'm doing a corporate presentation, my PPTs would be quite just like this, because it's me telling the story, and it happened today as well. I lost power in my program today. There was a
Okay.
short circuit in the building, and we lost every visual and audio connect. So there was no PPT, there was no computer, nothing. And we
Right.
had a
That's
program where
very
there were senior
yes.
people. What I did was quickly move them from listening or seeing a PPT to starting to tell stories about what was good about them, and it was a customer service program. So what feedback I'm happy to share is at the end of the day when they were all going, and these are all people with minimum 35 years of service in company, so
Wow.
extremely senior level
Oh,
people, and they said that, Sourish, one of the things we really loved about you is that you no longer depended on a PPT to talk to us, and we gained a lot more talking to you than we would have gained sitting and listening to a PPT, because everybody does that. So storytelling
Fantastic.
is the way you connect.
Yeah. I think it's a very important tool for anyone to develop. Yeah. Because
No,
I
it
mean,
is.
this
I
is a
mean,
start. Today is a start.
yeah, and it is something we have had from a very beginning. It's just that we allowed certain perspectives of machines and uh, software to take over our part, and then people were taking a look at the presentation. But then we always say you are the presentation. I mean, if you look at the iPhone launch, the video, probably I'll send the link to your group. Steve Jobs also lost technical prowess during the launch, but he started with saying, "Let me tell you a story," and he
Mhm.
let the audience be connected till he got back his presentation, and then he went back. So I thought
So,
when Raju asked me, like, yes,
Sourish,
yes, Raju,
one thing from my side is that okay, we all have stories, like that
correct,
movie thing you mentioned. See, only some of them become hit and some of them are not. right? I mean,
Correct. Correct.
it's all based on how you deliver, how you create the suspense and the curiosity. All matters, I guess.
Correct.
It's not only just the
Correct.
content of the story.
No, it does, because you need to be honest in what you're portraying. If you don't believe in that, then it shows. That's why, let me show you something else that I had in mind. I spoke to you about the different facets of storytelling and the hook and the story and the conclusion and the resolution. But these are not enough, like Raju mentioned. These are not enough to just make you a good storyteller. So I have a small formula that I can share with you, and this is what it is. First one is this, about your elements of communication. What words you speak sometimes become less impactful than how you speak it and how you use your body. So whenever we are telling a story, it becomes very important that when people are seeing us, they see how we gesture. I mean, one of the things that me and Ian, we joke about, me, Ian and Kavita went to a Toastmasters meeting a couple of years back. And there was this guy who was the winner of the Toastmasters. And he was talking about his story about a boat ride that he took to the sea, and his boat gets stuck, and he brought a small boat into the audience. Hilarious was the way he was showing the push, and he was saying, I was pushing it. I mean, when you speak about, you need to exaggerate what you're speaking, otherwise people may not take it. And that pushing became more hilarious, and he felt very bad. But then, keeping in mind exactly what Raju said, until unless you're putting emotion truly into a story, it is not a story. It is just a communication. One is that. Second one is this. Having the patience and the power of pause. Sometimes for your story to have impact, you need to pause. You need to let the audience feel a breathing space of thought. So whenever you are having an impact and you said, this happened, give it a pause. Let people sink it in. Conclude your story. Sometimes people say good morning and they move immediately to the introduction. Pause. Let people say good morning to you. Let them see who you are. But of course, pause is also important. You can always say, my wife is expecting, and then you have a pause. And then when people come to congratulate you, you tell them a letter from the income tax department. So very careful. So, it is important that the pause happens at the right moment and not when it is very awkward. We call it the pregnant pause then. And that is not the kind of acceptance we would want. This is important. Every story has a power of contrast. It has to have a good and a bad, a evil and a mighty, a god and a demon, a neo and an agent, because otherwise people will not understand what is the struggle. Power of contrast is very important. For people who may not have seen this movie, you would have definitely seen this Superman and Batman, right? So again, what Ian was giving you the templates the other time, the stories can always be, and this is Tejasvi. If you are ever having a marketing pitch to a client about a new concept, some of the things that I have used and use very well is what is and what can be done. So you show them the reality, and then you show them a future, and you say, how is the journey going to be from here to there? This is one of the most powerful tenets that I've ever used, and it has helped me to do a lot of presentations to pitch a product. Present reality versus future potential. Raju, maybe when you are doing a product launch or a project launch to your clients, you can always tell them this is where they are and this is what the future of the particular project can be. And of course, as simple as problem versus solution and good versus evil. This is again POC. If you want to add to the template, this is one thing that you can always add called power of contrast. Build a good vocabulary. A good storyteller has good vocabulary and they use it to define newer situations. Like for example, you can use the word cool everywhere, but you need to understand that you can also use different words to tease people's mind and force them to imagine something interesting. Of course, I know over here I would also like to talk about Osho. And if you ever want to understand good vocabulary, though sorry for using this word, but go and Google for Osho's speech on fuck and how he used the word fuck in so many different ways. So So, that's very interesting because he built good
Sourish,
vocabulary.
you
Yes.
don't have to go and Google for that. If you go for a session on with Ian, right, he'll tell you, give multiple sessions on how to use that word.
I mean, but
And
the
in a
whole idea.
very funny way, okay? And it's not any negative, but
Okay.
it's amazing.
So we would like to hear more about that. So let's probably, if you have time, then please do share that, because I'm seeing a series of books on that word nowadays, and it's doing so much of business because people are so fascinated with that word. But let me also tell you this: the context is also about vocabulary. You may want to use the same word, but you can use it in a different context and tell a good story. I mean, Gal Gadot also used it when she was promoting Wonder Woman, and it made her very famous. Of course, with her Iranian accent, it became even more exotic. So building good vocabulary is important because you entice people and they want to listen to you. Build a common ground. One of the most important things of a story is, can you make your audience really feel for you? When an Iron Man died, a lot of people cried. I've seen people in the crowd crying. Are they connected to Iron Man? No way. But they realized it. Of course, one of the most important part, if you have watched anybody has watched the end game, because I don't want to be spoiling it for you.
No, I haven't.
You're
Acha.
No,
not
you
spoiling. I
already
think
spoiled it. You already
no.
spoiled it, so it's okay.
No, that is
Thank you.
okay. That is, anyways, you would have seen on the net if you have connected. Another one important part was when Captain America picks up the Thor's hammer. Now that is again building common ground, because you hooted for the fact that Captain America was finally worthy. You have common grounds. I mean, Ek Duje Ke Liye, or even that movie where Kamal Hassan and Sridevi, I'm forgetting the name, where she loses her memory and then she gets it
Sadma.
back. Sadma. I mean, Sadma for me was a lot of Sadma, because the way the last 2 minutes of the movie, you could really feel the pain of that guy of losing everything, and now the woman he loved doesn't even recognize who is he. Those are some of the common grounds. When you talk about your own experiences, you are actually creating a common ground with your audience. So this is again answering Elsie's question: is it okay to share your failure stories? Yes, it is okay. If you watch a lot of videos of Mind Valley, each of the speakers create a very compelling ad pitch by telling that, okay, you know what, I was not good in this. There's this gentleman called Jim Quick, and he's the world's foremost authority on mental, arithmetics or remembering things. And he talks the whole story about how he had a broken brain and how he was humiliated when he was a kid and how he went on to develop super memory. And it is something we all love and we all identify with. So building a common ground is very important. For example, somebody has cheese, somebody has toast, and you build a common ground saying we can make a great sandwich together. So let's do it. So that is one of the important things for building common ground for your listeners to remember you. Emotion. Of course, no story can ever be without emotion. And it is important that you delve into emotion as much as you can. Emotion is one place that makes people start to take rational decision based on very irrational thoughts. I mean, today I was telling people about how Apple has managed to convince people to sell one of their kidneys because they have two of them, and everybody started laughing because they realized that yes, it is true. I mean, of course the Apple does cost a kidney, and the second is that to afford one, you probably have to shell out something similar to that. So emotion is important, and all these, as Ian would like to say, a roller coaster of emotion is what your storytelling is actually based on. You can make somebody feel for you even in a corporate presentation. I mean, Steve Jobs' connections are always like that. He would always connect you. When he launched the iPod, he spoke about his daughter Lisa. I mean, if you watched the movie Steve Jobs, you would know that she was struggling with her Walkman and how he promised to have 1,000 songs in his pocket. And the whole idea to ensure that he gets that emotional appeal, he actually swapped shirts to find a white shirt with a pocket so that he can put the iPad inside or the iPod inside, pick it out and show that these are 1,000 songs inside your pocket. So it all talks about how you create that emotion, because without it, your story is just a discussion.
Sorry, this must be a very big hit with the ladies also, no?
Oh, they are the most emotional ones, and all of us know they appease to the emotions a lot more. So, that's why I always tell people that men were rough drafts and women are the finished product of gods, because God took the rib. That is why whenever we feel about women, it's a pain in our heart because there's a rib missing. I hope the ladies are with us here.
Yeah,
They're unmuting.
absolutely.
They're unmuting now.
They're all coming back to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you who I am. This is what you saw me. This is not me. Let me take it out. This is not at all me. If you really want to see who I am this. I'm a bibliophile. I love reading books and I'm an obsessive collector. I love gifting books and I love dealing with books because I believe every book is a journey into the reader's mind. I'm a thalassophile. I love water and I love water bodies. And I believe water is something that makes us flow together. I'm a people enabler. If you see, I help people enable better. And how many of you know about this painting?
Don't.
It's in the
This is David and Angels. Is this Michelangelo?
Yes. But if you notice, let me tell you something interesting about this story. If you were to be seeing this part where I'm circling the mouse pointer, doesn't this look like a brain?
It does.
Yeah.
It does,
Yes.
and that is the whole point, and that is where it's the passing of the knowledge from God to man through the knowledge. And this was made during a time when humans did not know how the cross section of a brain looks like. But yet, this photograph has been made. I mean, this painting has been made thousands of years before man finally found physiologically what a brain looks like. So next time when you watch this particular photo, I'm sure you will remember the brain. So I am a people enabler. I help people become better. This is who I am. I'm a business builder. By the way, this is my LinkedIn account, older one, but I'm a business builder. I help businesses grow. So when somebody asks me to tell me something about myself, just like Vijay spoke about, what was the term you used, Vijay? People enricher, right?
People
Connector.
connector.
People connected.
People connector. Yes.
See, we
are on
all
the same
remembered.
page. Yes, and that is why it's important, because that was the hook. People are now very interesting. So when I say I'm a storyteller, a lot of people get very intrigued. How is this a storyteller? How do you make a living out of it? And a lot of people ask me about my competitors, and I tell them, say no, but I'm associated with them. All my competitors are actually my collaborators. I've worked with many of them in my past, and I continue to work with them. And of course, I am a storyteller. And I always start off my journey with a long ago, because then it's easy for people to remember that we have all had a long journey, and we are a sum of all the experiences that we have together. So this is who I am. Okay, this is my Instagram profile. You can see a lot more about my storytelling in my Instagram, because I believe it's a fantastic platform to tell stories through pictures and write about it too. So I would encourage all of you to get on Instagram, because it's a beautiful place to be a storyteller in the real form. So just to recap quickly what a story is about. Stories ask what would happen if and what if. Stories are always about possibilities. It is never about absolutes. The only absolute a story can be is when you have this journey of life which starts with birth and with death. But otherwise, a story is about an infinite possibilities of what can happen. They are all about change. And they show the human truths, weaknesses, strength, hopes, fears, and desires. Stories have the capacity to make you become transcendental or go to the next level of your thought. Allow them to, because they are always about empowering you to become better. David and Goliath, Ramayana, Mahabharata, every of these stories are about how people could become worse and how there are still people who could become better. They are about choices and consequences, and the elements of stories, though they are finite, present ourselves to a world which is of infinite possibilities, because they talk about conflict, plot, tension, characters, and most importantly, resolution. How many of you watched the movie Wall-E? The Wall-E doesn't have any dialogues till the last 10 minutes of the movie, but it all shows the introduction of a character, the conflict it goes through, how lonely it is, how he finds the girlfriend, how they go ahead to save humanity. The story starts and ends with the same concept of having a situation, a conflict, and resolution. But how you tell the story makes a lot of difference. This is another interesting story. And this is actually a lot about what storytelling is all about. How you don't let the past blackmail you and ruin a beautiful future. So when you talk about a resolution, you're always giving a hope to people that you're telling a story, even in the corporate terms, that you can go from level A to level B and become better. So storytelling is always about becoming better.
Sourish, I have a question.
Yes.
Kind of got stuck when you were discussing about the Toastmasters winner, and when he was talking about push, and he kind of got a little embarrassed when he was exaggerating.
Okay. Let me come online. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So I was
so
just.
Can you guys see my hand?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead. Tell me. I'll answer your question.
Yeah. So I was just trying to understand, embarrassed. So how did the audience reacted? What impact it created? Just trying to understand the context, because you highlighted it, and I'm kind of still there.
Correct. Okay. So I'll make it clear for you. So the story that the guy was talking about was this epic boat, a journey that he took with his father to the ocean, and how they braved the ocean, the storm, and how the boat got stuck, and how he got down and he helped push the boat, and they made it to the journey to the shore. And it was how the father and son made a life journey together. Now, when I was talking about stories and I was talking about exaggerated emotions, the problem was, say for example, okay, I'll take this Mountain Dew bottle here and make it look, okay, there's my camera. Okay, so imagine this is the boat. So he started off by showing this bottle and said, this is the boat. And when he was talking about the pushing part of it, he started saying, and he was pushing and pushing and pushing. Okay, so you understand, he's on the stage with a boat in his hand, which is so little. And instead of him saying, I was pushing the boat and, I was trying to do it, all emotion he said was exactly this. I was pushing, and I was pushing. So why am I talking about the exaggerated emotions? Because from the audience to see the stage and to see him push a little boat, it did not connect to the audience. Just like when I gave you the example and you were not able to connect, people started laughing because they found it very funny to see a grown-up man push a little boat, and it was such a big deal. So if you were to ask me or Ian, how would we do it? We would show with all our exaggerations how I was pushing a massive boat, and how is it bigger than me, and how the rain and the storm and everything was getting stuck on my face, and I was having this challenge. So sometimes tragedy can become comedy if you're not paying attention, and the whole thing is lost. Something like, when we talk about Facebook, you have a lot of these condolences messages which come. We lost this, we lost that, and people sometimes come and like those messages and put in hearts there, and they are saying wow. So sometimes as a storyteller, I don't understand, what are they trying to portray? Do they love the fact that somebody has passed away? Are they liking the fact that somebody is talking about the fact that somebody has passed away? What is it? So emotions are very important to be shown in the right manner. And the best arsenal a storyteller has is to show exaggerated emotions. Like, if you watch the movie Coolie, Amitabh Bachchan's Coolie, there was a scene where he's wearing that chadar from the Mazar and he's having those guys shoot bullets at him. Or you have a Rajnikant or a Nagarjuna make tornadoes with their legs. So these are exaggerated emotions which people go and they do CTifying for, because they can understand that it's larger than life. And whenever you're telling a story, it is always good to have a larger than life, but be a little careful. If your context is supposed to be about an individual, making him or her larger than life will be embarrassing. So, Tejasvi, I hope I explained your question.
No, that was Amit.
That was Amit.
Oh, Amit. Oh, sorry. So,
It's
Amit,
okay.
I mean, giving Amit the credit of this. Sorry, I'm not able to see the participants. Now, Amit and me, we spoke about Jagjit Singh, and the way Amit described about going to this place and listening to ghazal and saying that next time we should all go together. It made me very interested in knowing that, more than the ghazal, what was the entire ambience about, because he created such a beautiful ambience when he spoke that next time when we're having this, we should go together, and people realize the importance of ghazal only when they're singing. So again, an exaggeration which really helps to create an interest in the product. Otherwise, Amit could have said, next time I'm going for a ghazal function, come along. So all of this, I mean, it's important. Like, for example, what Vidya also spoke about, being a mother, being able to tell stories. I believe that's the seat of our culture, right? We hear about all these fantastic things from our parents, especially our mothers. And they speak to you, making these monsters come alive, making these heroes come alive. They don't tell any stories on a straight face, do they? So to all the moms in the audience today.
Each day, I'll be listening to stories. Half of them are, weird stories.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about, I remember my mom talking about how Hanumanji flew from South India to North India to pick up the Govardhan forest, or Govardhan only, right? And bring it back, and how it was a huge mountain. Oh my God!
No, that was Sanjeevani Parvat. You mixed up.
Parvat.
Govardhan was lifted by
Krishna.
Govardhan is Krishna, boss.
Yes,
but
Krishna
that was Sanjeevani Booty or Sanjeevani Parvat?
No, that's Sanjeevani Booty. Parvat is different. The name of the Parvat.
I mean, that's what the importance is. None of us remember the name of the Parvat, but we all remember that the original Superman flew there. Yes. I mean, in fact, when I tell stories about superheroes, I tell Hanuman was the original Superman, because Superman could jump on one building to the other in a single leap. This guy was able to jump continents. And, he was the original Ant-Man, because he could become small and big. He had a Gada, which is similar to a Thor. And of course, he was Captain America.
I think we need, we should actually ask for a patent, and get a lot of money from these guys who made Ant-Man and Superman stuff.
The problem is, we are in India. Everybody get very religiously insulted. That's another interesting story. So, our Durga Puja that we celebrate as Bengalis is what is the wrong time when the goddess came to the planet. She usually comes in April, May. And the whole story about him was about professionalism, where do you guys have time to listen to this? Then I can tell you the story.
I thought it's about Durga. The Durga Puja in October.
But the reason why she came down to the planet was a very different reason altogether. Okay, that's why it's called Akal Bodhan. It means the untimely arrival of the goddess to the planet.
Hey,
so
Sourish, I just wanted others to ask any questions.
Yes.
I know there are a lot of good stories. You can take a full day on this journey.
Sorry.
We covered a lot of ground here.
Way of telling Pratap.
You covered a lot of ground here. Any last minute questions, guys?
I've got a quick question. So, Sourish, obviously, you've been doing this for some time, and you have practice. You're a seasoned veteran at this point in terms. But somebody who's just, let's say, trying to start up, do you have any exercises or pointers just to to loosen up those filters and try to see the funny side, or like you say, the exaggerated side of it, and anything that you think could be a good start for us?
Keep in mind give me a context, I might be able to help.
Did you should I repeat?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, so you've obviously been doing this for some time. and you're experienced and you have those, all of this comes very naturally to you. So for somebody who has to start from scratch, do you have any exercises or pointers that could help me start, maybe some, just to remove to see the funny side of things, to see the bigger thing, just not seeing it what it is, but how to make up a little more beyond it, to exaggerate it? Do you have any exercises that could maybe help me, or help us rather?
Yeah, there are a couple of things. See, first of all, this beautiful question. So I need to thank you for that. Difficult because when you talk about storytelling, there's two different things. One is telling a story, another one is internalizing it. So if you're looking at a startup, you might be also looking at making a branding out of it, right?
Correct.
So one of the things you can do is highlight what are the challenges that your founders went through. Understand that they definitely see it. It is very human for us, and probably it's a very cultural context for us as Indians to downplay on the emotions that goes through.
Okay.
Even an emotion of somebody getting up on stage to speak and the entire internal challenge that they go through is a good way to showcase how you rise from that challenge. So, for example, when you're talking about a startup, you as a founder may have gone through challenges, like, for example, deciding to quit your job and starting something that you're passionate about. And that is a journey in itself. You can talk about it when you're talking to somebody about how your business came to be. If you're maybe talking to your employees, you can also talk about the security factor of it. Start identifying what were the challenges that you as a startup founder went through, and make each one of them into small bite-sized stories that you can actually talk about. Practice it so that you don't lose out on this. And when you are very comfortable and you're okay with that particular problem, then you start to realize which are the areas you want to highlight. For example, maybe as a startup founder, you had gone to 2-3 people. I mean, Jack Ma does it every time when he speaks about how many times he's got rejected. Do you remember the story? He speaks about how many times he got rejected. Or for example, KFC. When people talk about KFC, says about how Colonel Sanders got rejected 200 change times before he started founding KFC. Now, why do they exaggerate on these numbers? Because they are huge numbers which help people to understand that he just didn't give up. There's a story about Steve Jobs and the iPad Nano, and how that he was very angry and he wanted to reduce everything. And then this engineer comes and gives him an iPad Nano and says, you know what, we can't reduce it anymore. And it is on record that Steve Jobs takes that Nano iPod and throws it into the aquarium. And everybody thought he was angry. But the whole idea, what he did was to show that if there were bubbles coming out of the iPod Nano as it sank, he says if there is space for air inside the Nano iPod, you can still make it smaller. Now, again, why I use this story, because as an inception of Nano iPod, the idea was to make it as small as possible. So you exaggerated on the smaller part of it, and you said that how Steve Jobs used the air bubbles inside the water as an example to say that you can make it smaller. So answering your question, probably we might want to take it offline. If you have some specific context that you would want to highlight, we can always work around making it a good story for you.
Right. All right.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, does it help you?
Thank you, Sourish. Guys, any other last one question before we end? I think Sourish is going to send some material, so I'll share with you guys in this. And again, feel free to reach out to him if you want to know, generate ideas and how you wanted to exercise this one for your context. So he's happy.
Please, guys. You guys have anyways got my number. I mean, PK is the only person I have never met. So PK also wanted to hear from you if you have any questions that you would like to ask.
No, Sourish, I don't have any specific question at this point in time. But I think I met you when I was there in the last build session.
Yeah, I mean, we would have all met each other, but as a team, this is the first time.
Yeah, probably you might not remember because.
No, I would, but as a team, I'm interacting with you first time. So As a new
Okay.
member, I thought, because others know me for quite some time. So because you're the first time we are interacting here on Raju's team, so I thought if there's something that you have in specific, I can answer you as well. And of course, the same goes to everybody else.
Thanks, Suresh, for a nice session. It was quite interesting. And as they just pointed out, being in sales, I am a storyteller myself, because
Great.
that's uh, when we are selling solutions, when we are doing that, so that's something which is obvious. But yeah, it is good to know that what I have been doing, there are a lot improvements possible.
That's good to know. I mean, I'm always here, happy to help. Please reach out. I mean, when Raju told me about this, I was very excited because it is something very passionate to me, and I would like to help people to grow to the next level.
Super session, Sourish. Thanks for taking time out. And
My pleasure.
I think we'll catch you on Sunday, 11th. Are you going to be there?
Yes, I'm definitely going to be there.
Yeah,
So-
all of you come and meet Sourish with your story, 1 minute story or 2 minute story, and see how you applied what you learned.
No, please, I'll be more than happy. Anything for my Tilt members.
Super.
And in fact, if you
Really,
have Malati, good to
thank
hear
you
you
very
finally.
much, Sourish. Yeah. I have been quite, because I wanted to hear you.
Okay.
Really, it's a really good session. So I have to upgrade my few of the skills which I abandoned very long days back.
Nene, thank you so much, and I am always happy to get back to friends. Tilt is like a family to me, so please feel free. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. In fact, I do corporate storytelling for companies. In fact, if your companies need help, please do reach out. We will definitely see where we can get the program set up and help you.
Yeah.
Super
Okay.
stuff. All right.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all. So I'm ending the call now.
Sure.
So we'll share the recording and other material over the our chat. Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you,
Thanks a
everybody.
lot.
Okay,
Thanks a
thanks.
lot. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Good
everybody.
night.
Bye bye, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, Suresh, for the session.
My pleasure.